We've only made 2 changes. The team that drew with West Coast must be good to make minimal changes for the first time in a while.
Yeah, probably about 10 weeks. So yeah, it's pleasing. Obviously, only one was forced, Rory Thompson with his ankle, but getting quality players like Michael Riccitelli and Trent McKenzie back obviously improves us a bit. So hopefully on the back of last week we can add to that as well.
Great effort by the midfield last week, given the personnel that was missing and the inexperience and who we were playing against. How have you seen the form of Harrenhal since the bye? He's played the last 5 weeks and really lifted a gear.
Yeah, he has. Coming back off a big operation over the summer, and really, out of any adversity, opportunity arises. And when we were in Adelaide, when Gary got injured, we didn't have a lot of options in the midfield, so we put Eren in there, and he acquitted himself very well for the last half. And then the game after that, played really well, and the midfield again on the weekend was fantastic. So it was really pleasant.
Jesse Lonergan's another one who's gone back into the middle. You played him down back at the start of the year, but given circumstances, he's really lifted another gear as well. Yeah,
just very inexperienced last week in the midfield. Tuke Miller in his first season. Jesse's only played about 15 games or so. Aaron Hall virtually never played there in the midfield. So for those guys to be able to stand up like they did, and Jesse's really incrementally got better each week. Started him down back, gave him an opportunity. Put him up forward for a few games was pleasing. There against Adelaide as well, he did well in the second half. We put him in the midfield, and then he continued his form again last week. So we're seeing some real growth in him. So going forward, when we get our complement of midfielders back, there's no doubt we'll still play Jesse in there, but he can play other spots as well.
Tom Nichols has got another massive challenge in Stephen Martin. Martin probably doesn't get the sort of plaudits that he deserves down south, but it's a massive challenge. What makes him such a difficult matchup for someone? Yeah,
he's probably been stilled a bit when they're playing 2 rucks. It's always difficult for teams. Can you fit 2 ruckmen in? And I think he seems to play extremely well when he's the lone ruckman, and he's got great fitness. He's a great running player. He's good strength. So his ability to get around the ground is a real asset of his. Tom has had a really competitive year. I think he's one player that's really grown this year. We thought he acquitted himself well last week. Probably got worn down a bit by the 2 ruckmen, but having said that, Nat knew he didn't have a great influence on the game. So we're really pleased with his performance. So it's another big challenge for him. Obviously Brisbane play a lot better at home, and they're difficult to beat there, and Stephen Martin's a key to that.
Stephen May was brilliant again last weekend against Josh Kennedy. What does he need to do to really enter that top group of key defenders in the game?
Yeah, he's not far away from there, there's no doubt. He's had some really good performances against good players this year. And I think it's just time. I think it's just consistently be able to perform like he did last week, and consistently against good players. And I don't think it'll be very long that he'll be in All-Australian contention.
Harley Bennell had another great game, a different one to the game against Adelaide. Have you seen him respond to obviously the real adversity that he went through not long ago?
Yeah, listen, we've seen a change in his attitude to, like he's always trained well, but just the 1% things that dot the I's and cross the T's, little things as they go towards professionalism, he's really starting to embrace those. But I think his performance, when he played in Adelaide, he had 38, but it was a good game. But there was parts of his game that we weren't real pleased with. And then last week, we gave him an opportunity to play on an All-Australian player. Andrew Gaff's going to make All-Australian this year. He's had a great year, a stellar year. And for Harley to be able to play a discipline role, also had 7 tackles. So just parts of his game that we want to teach and educate, and him to become a better player, a more rounded player. And he seems to be embracing that education part of the way you need to play. So he'll play different roles over the next few weeks, but certainly we're really pleased with his performance last week.
Jared Harbrow, Adam Sard and Jack Martin all returned last weekend and gave us a lot of run and a lot of drive. Jack Martin was quite impressive. How did you see his return? He's obviously he's missed a lot of footy this year.
Yeah, it was quite influential, I thought. For a guy who only had 13 possessions, I thought everyone was real quality. He does win the hard ball. He had 6 or 7 tackles, but really is an aggressive tackler. So he's still a little bit down on match fitness, but he played a little bit in the midfield in the last quarter, so he'll get more midfield time this week. So we see him as a key component of our team going forward. He's only played half a dozen games this year. Another quality player. We've had out a fair bit, so hopefully that he can finish the season off strongly, have a good pre-season, and have a solid year next year.
And Adam started, how did he pull up? We know he's had groin issues of recent times. It's going to be something that needs to be managed, but how did he get through?
Good. No, we managed a little bit this week, but he's got more training into him this week than last week. He's put up really well, so he again last week showed his value to the side, his ability to break the lines and to set play up for us. So, and his ability to win one-on-ones. That's a lot of defenders who are offensive players tend to struggle one-on-one or struggle with a tag. Well, he seems to be able to cope with that pretty well. He defeats his opponent one-on-one, which is really pleasing.
Dane Beams has been Brisbane's premier player all season. He's obviously out with a shoulder, but Pierce Hanley's returned in recent weeks, and Daniel Rich is in form. Who does the focus go to this week?
Yeah, they've always had a pretty strong midfield. I suppose Beams is the only one missing from it, and I suppose pre-season that they recruited Beams and Christensen, and to add to their already much vaunted midfield. So that's their asset, that's their strength. So Hanley is just been back a few weeks, and Rockcliffe obviously gets a lot of the ball. Redden's a good player. Rich, Christensen, Mitch Robinson as well have been added. So they've still got a very good midfield. So we're going to have our work cut out in there. We're going to have to work really hard. So Hanley obviously is a line breaker, and his metres gained are extremely high, and he can kick some goals. So those players who can break the lines are always dangerous.
And just lastly, Tuke Miller must be rising in Rising Star calculations. His first half last week was exceptional, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. He never ceases to amaze. I'm like a guy in his first year to be able to do what he's done consistently, and his ability to win the ball, his body work's enormous, and his tackling is fantastic. We thought he might have run out of gas by at this stage. We're always worried about him. There's only 5 games left, so hopefully you can see the season out. Now it's a big ask for him to play in the midfield consistently. So, but he's had a wonderful year.